Hi, welcome to All Day Live. I'm WillPWilson, the producer of the All Day Live show that broadcasts weekly here from Seattle in the Northwest. This is about July 17, 2013. I hope you enjoy this segment. First part is about 12 minutes interview with Dawn-Darington and I discussing the future of different industries, including ophthalmology, which Dr. Michael S. Berlin, the Glaucoma Institute of Beverly Hills, glaucoma-institute.com. We're greatly honored to have him on the show. He is the head of ophthalmology at UCLA. He's a true pioneer. He's one of the true, real pioneers in laser ophthalmological surgery, if I said that right. And it's a great honor to have Dr. Michael S. Berlin to hear what he has to say about the future of this industry, as well as Dawn-Darington trying to discuss where will the organic medical cannabis industry possibly coincide with ophthalmology. And then the second part of this program will be with the Canada Law Group hearing that was today, July 17, 2013, at the Convention Center with Hillary Bricken and several other notable people, including Allison Holcomb, the author of I-502 here in Washington State, which we'll have a brief interview with them and some other attendees of this conference. I hope to wrap the show up this week with the CPEACE, that's cpeace.org, CEAP, with Don Glenn, who for 22 years has ran the Seattle Peace Concerts. This one was at Magnuson Park. I hope you enjoy this program. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for watching. I'm all. Are we trying to wake up as a people?
What do I care about? People. I care about people.
I care about making the world a better
I
place.
care about my family.
My fellow Americans. I care about music, care about our job prospects.
I care about peace, teaching youth, my kids, my
The
husband,
welfare of my fellow man.
health.
I want the truth to come out.
This is the Breakdown Station.
Now,
I'm here for you.
yes,
And you.
yes. This is All Day Live, but it's going to be the future of the Glaucoma Institute TV media educational programming. We're honored to have Dr. Michael S. Berlin here today. Michael, with Mount Rainier behind you, if I can say it, it's so big it's overwhelming. And Dawn-Darington, Choice Wellness here. Michael, thank you. We're honored to see you today in the Northwest. Thank you so much.
It's a joy to be here. I don't
Yes.
think your microphone's going to pick us up in this wind, but I hope so.
Well, you're right. You might be right. I'm going to turn it up as far as I can. So I'll scoot in a little bit more while we got Seattle and Mount Rainier in the background. I hope it picks it up. But the chance that we have to hear about the future of the Glaucoma Institute's research and development, right? There's a lot on the plate, right? And Dawn, you know about that, right?
Well, I know that the glaucoma is certainly a serious problem throughout the world with people. As we age, things tend to happen, and glaucoma is one of the things that causes people a tremendous amount of difficulty.
Yeah.
And so the work that Dr. Berlin has done is just amazing in
yeah.
terms of helping restore the quality of life.
Right. Yeah. And Michael, when you start something, it's like a doctor is more than just a doctor treating his patients. What you create is your patient as well, right?
Our goal is to help people get to where they want to be. And the method and means is partnership, education, learning on our part to be able to provide the best that science has to offer.
Yeah.
I had a very interesting day yesterday. I spent part of the day at the University of Washington in the research laboratories, where a dear friend of mine and colleague who has retired from patient care is now moving back to the clinic, a full circle, to develop techniques and technology that he knows from his decades of experience with patient care will benefit the next generation of people who have glaucoma. University of Washington has a single brilliant man from China, who unfortunately is going to go back to China, who's developed some very, very high resolution OCT techniques, ocular coherence tomography, which enables you to look at now picometers and detect motion and change in such small spaces and parameters that we can address issues at an almost cellular level that we could never even see before. We've theorized how things work, and from the theories we've developed medicines and surgeries and treatments, and now we have an opportunity to test our theories by actually seeing what we've been looking at and not seeing.
Wow, that must be very
so
exciting.
exciting. It's so exciting. We're just at the threshold. We're applying it to ophthalmology. Other specialties are also looking at it. Think about being able to look at the way the ear works at the microscopic level, and then treat some of the hearing loss problems, cardiovascular, venous, other cellular level diseases that we can now address because we can see them. It's fun. Imagine now how Lister, when he first looked at them through the microscope and saw bacteria, then had an explanation for a lot of diseases he was seeing. We're now doing the same thing at a brand new horizon for discovery. It's fun.
It's exciting times.
It is.
For me, of course, one part of my exciting times is working in the medical cannabis community, and we know that cannabis can help people with glaucoma. Does that tie in at all to the work that you've done? Do you think there's any possibility
Quicker healing?
of working together to?
I know you have extreme expertise in the cannabis field, and I'm very proud of you for what you've been able to accomplish, especially here in Washington, where you have legalization of that medication. Glaucoma applications are interesting. Yes, cannabis does lower pressure. The difficulty today is, as a relatively unregulated medication, there isn't a dose-response curve, which means we don't know how much you need to get how much effect, and how often you need per person to get how much effect. And one of the difficulties that you have is you can't quantitate that from your plants yet because it takes more science.
And and to utilize the science, we need to get it off of Schedule 1 so that we don't have the federal problems with it. We need the universities. I hope to talk to Governor Inslee about having the University of Washington do more real science, because we're at that point. All we have is an incredible amount of information that's anecdotal, and we need to have the real science backup. We really need to find out. We need the DNA of the different strains and what they really do, so we can really know. We think of things. I've been saying for quite some time that we attribute a tremendous amount now to curative properties to CBD. In 5 years from now, we're going to look at that and laugh. Some of us are already looking at that and laughing, because we're looking at all the tiny little terpenes that aren't being tested, and that's what needs to be tested. It's the whole package.
I totally agree with you, but what's interesting too is you have a new delivery method, which you haven't really started to think about utilizing. Because with the cigarettes now going off market and people having these battery-operated inhaler devices for nicotine, there's no reason that your community couldn't develop a marijuana capsule for those devices.
Well, we do have cannabis capsules of various of sorts, and I have been talking with some scientists in Colorado who have developed a cannabis patch, which I find very exciting. I'm not much of a cannabis smoker myself, so I really look for other methods of ingesting, of delivery,
Sure.
with the balms and lotions and capsules and edibles. And I've been promoting, of course, for years that everything needs to be tested and labeled so people know what they're getting. And we try to help people learn how they can find out what their THC level, that is, how much they can consume and still function and not be incapacitated, not be too
Michael?
intoxicated.
Real quick, you've got patents, and Dawn, you mentioned that the only patents for the cannabis thing is government.
US
and then
government.
Government took your patents, Michael?
No, the
No?
government hasn't taken my patents. Unfortunately, the patent office, the way that it works is after certain time periods, 18 years and in some cases up to 20 years,
Okay.
patents expire.
Okay.
And the idea of a patent is to protect the inventor, to allow him to, or them to be able to have value for their thoughtfulness, for their inventions. for a certain time period. But then the invention becomes universal.
Yeah.
What I've learned over time is if you do have this opportunity, you need to basically monetize it in the time that you have to do that. I'm very fortunate that I've been able to create some techniques and technologies that will certainly benefit people, but I haven't found a way yet to make money off of it. But in the end, if the community benefits, if the glaucoma community can have an almost cure, I'm happy.
Right. Dawn, you mentioned about future things that will be patented in this organic, I should say, cannabis medical applications that will go nationwide. I see it possibly working with the Glaucoma Institute's future research, Dawn. I mean, I see cannabis working with that somehow. I mean,
I do too. I think there can be a wonderful melding as we can do more science with cannabis. At this point, we tried to get a patent for the new medical strain, which is perhaps one of only true medical strains of cannabis in the world for Old Toby, and we were rejected because cannabis is on Schedule 1. And that's the rub, is that we have to get cannabis off of Schedule 1 so that we can do the science, so we can really do the healing, so the different disciplines can work together for patients' benefit.
Michael,
That's all we want to do.
If you realize what you've created is a very still young, very young industry. The glaucoma research is so new. People don't even know, except they go there for treatment, but they don't realize that you're like one of the architects.
Well, I'm getting old too.
Well, you're not that old.
We're trying to.
You look
to
great
raise...
you look good, and girls probably up here would be flocking to you if they knew you were here.
Thank you, Will.
Yeah.
The issue is for us is to maintain, educate, and create another generation of people who have the same motivation to want to innovate, to want to enable our patients, people who have disease, to have cures.
Yeah, yeah.
And it takes government support. If it would be much, much, much nicer if there were less loopholes and less hoops to jump through to get to the end, and more support from the government institutions to enable us to utilize their resources. But again, of course, there's limitations of support.
Yeah.
Even to them, and I understand that.
Here at the UW, one of the things, Dawn, you've mentioned that they could develop, and we have John Dickinson's son, he's a biochemist here at the UW. John's one of the old pioneers in cannabis history in the country. And his son is interested in developing a whole new development project for the University of Washington in research. Just an idea, right? But he's brilliant.
He's brilliant.
Which means creating more research projects for some of these young, brilliant future scientists.
If you have funding, and the key is ideas, funding, and with ideas and funding, you have innovation. That's what it takes. So you need people who are thinking, people who are creative, and people who have the understanding that with that creativity and backup with funding, that they can move the world.
Yeah. So,
Well,
like, for example,
slight suggestion: if you pan more slowly, you won't get the people at the other end dizzy. So slow down.
Okay. Well, you got that beautiful background behind you, Michael.
I know.
It's unbelievable. And with that huge mountain behind you, there's nowhere else in North America that you have a setting like that. It's amazing.
And the water you've given us from that mountain tastes awfully good.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's say future projects for research. What would you think is going to happen?
Well, as I was saying, in Dawn's field, there are these aerosolating devices that are becoming ubiquitous for nicotine. I have a feeling that there will be some other medication uses for inhaled substances, be it THC or other things.
There's a tremendous market for that. Actually, they're being used just for that all over the place right now. One of my problems is most of those pins come from China and contain lead.
Right.
We just found this week, actually, a pin that I had brought back, and we did all the research on that I brought back from San Francisco, that is made in the USA and has absolutely no lead on it, and even tells you how much of a dose you're getting. I'm really excited about that because we can make organic oils that people can use in that, and we do make organic oils people can use in that. Now there are a lot of people around making what I call poison, because it is poison. You know, they're using poison as solvents and they're smoking this, and I'm very concerned about that. I want that stopped because they just don't know, and they're killing their brain cells. And
I totally agree with you. A lot of the solvents and precisely are being used, alcohol-based solvents to aerosolize the nicotine are not appropriate, and we don't have them tested.
well, they're using butane and
Absolutely.
naphtha and ether and all kinds of horrible stuff.
Yeah, you don't want to be inhaling that stuff.
Any of that stuff, never.
So, but again, the question is, how much do you want the government to be regulating this? We'd like them to advise, we'd like them to educate, but I don't know that I want them to regulate.
Good point. Because, well, and of course, the bad players always find a way immediately around whatever they regulate anyway. It just stands in the way very often of the people that are trying to do a good job and the people that need the services.
But I do believe that we have new delivery systems which are inadequately controlled by the government, and there has to be a little bit of help in understanding what is safe, what isn't safe, and long-term consequences. Because as far as I understand, they are not very well tested.
No.
Michael, as far as the glaucoma-institute.com, right?
Correct.
If they go to glaucoma-institute.com, it's a whole different thing. It says the domain's for sale, by the way. Just, I don't know if you knew that. But anyway, the Glaucoma Institute, I think, is going to go into future media education because it's like an obligation in a way, right?
We definitely need to educate people. The
Yep.
way that people will understand and partner for the treatment of their disease is to understand it.
Yeah, and we have to educate. And it's a whole new thing, right? It's a whole new field of healing.
Well, the education today, because of social media, because of these wonderful belt-wearing computers or purse-worn computers,
Yeah.
enable us to be connected anywhere, anytime, as long as there's a network and electricity,
Right.
to information.
And so,
And information is value.
creating jobs, future ability for people to enterprise here. I mean, typically.
As already has occurred, it's logarithmic.
Yeah, it's people realize there's about 5,000 ophthalmological laser surgeons, right, in this country.
I'm not certain of that number, but
6,000.
in the realm,
Yeah,
certainly.
yeah, and they're treating probably everybody in the country.
Well, we hope so.
That's a lot of responsibility.
Well, we hope so.
Well, it's amazing how 5,000 people can keep everybody seen.
We're doing a pretty good job.
Yeah, I would say so. I would say so. And so, in the same way, creating enterprise, because how many people work in that industry? Probably 200,000, 300,000, 400,000 people. You think, at least?
Oh, many more.
You're
Many
kidding.
more.
Do you?
But
Really?
the goal is, in fact, I just talked to a friend who was telling me about a set of apps, and this is going to be the future. We'll be doing home testing from our devices, and the tests will be then sent to the cloud. A reader will interpret them and then supply the information back to the patient and to the patient's medical caregiver. And there'll be less need for visits because so much more will be able to be done locally.
Wow.
I've always said to my patients, hold the phone to your eye and I'll tell you what's wrong, but soon that will actually no longer be a joke.
That's wonderful.
That's incredible, Michael. Really. As far as media, go to glaucoma-institute.com, right?
Correct.
Right.
Glaucoma-institute.com.
Right.
You'll find most of what we need to do, and thanks to Will, hopefully in the future, a lot more.
Yes, I hear you. I hear Michael.
Thank
hey,
you, sir.
thank you so much. Really, we're greatly honored. Michael is here in the Northwest. That's Mount Rainier in the background. And he's looking after all of us, isn't he? Grandfather? He is. He's right behind.
It's a beautiful place.
Isn't it?
Thank you all.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Dawn-Darington,
see you
Choice
again.
Wellness.
It's a joy to be with you.
Thank you. Thank you, Michael. All day live.
right.
Thank you, Seattle.
The law that
What do I care about? People. I care about people.
care about making the world a better place.
Care about my family.
My fellow Americans. I care about music, care about our job prospects.
I care about peace, teaching youth, my kids, my
The
husband,
welfare of my fellow man.
health.
I want the truth to come out.
This is the breakdown.
Hi, I'm WillPWilson. I'm the producer of the All Day Live show. I appreciate everyone watching this week. Today is July 17, 2013, and we had the great honor of interviewing Dr. Michael S. Berlin. He's the head of UCLA's ophthalmological department and also one of the founders, great pioneers in laser eye surgery. His program you can find at glaucoma-institute.com, as we mentioned in this interview. I have the honor of having Dawn-Darington, Choice Wellness Center here on 8600 Aurora Avenue North, help me with this interview with Dr. Michael S. Berlin. He's one of the true great pioneers in laser eye surgery, as I've mentioned. The second part of this program will be at the convention center, as it was today, with the Canon Law Group, Hillary Birkin, as well as the author of I-502, which is Allison Holcomb, and other notable people. We also have some feedback from some of the attendees of this program, covering issues like rural growing, things like that as well. So we had Sharon Foster as well. She's the head of the Washington State Liquor Board, now probably considered the cannabis oversight programs for developing the cannabis industry here in the state. A lot going on. Then we'll probably wrap this program up with Don Glenn, the C-Peace, that's seapeace.org. At Seattle Peace Concerts here in Seattle. It was at Magnuson Park this last weekend. I hope you enjoy the program. I'm WillPWilson, the All Day Live producer. Thank you for watching. Thank you.
Mine. I don't need it.
Well, it just also goes with down the line of maybe west.
Well, I would have liked to had it, you know, as
Oh,
we're
yeah, it
going
would have
through.
been easier, yeah.
And then I mean, you know, the Dahmer
Like I said, I'm worried about being next to a retailer where they just know that they grow in
Put all the
there.
labor-
The stronger it is.
Awesome. But you know, it's a market that will
That does
is
something
stoned
else.
all day on
Little
somebody's
smoke and
ass
mirrors?
to do that,
Yeah.
and that's what you
Hide in plain
It's not a
sight, you do
genius
it all
by
the
any
time.
Freak,
Yeah,
don't look like a freak.
Yeah, exactly.
No.
Actually, you know,
People are always
as
surprised
long
when
as
they're
he
like,
puts a
you're
flavoring
doing
in it.
what?
Oh,
It'll
really?
be,
I did
clove,
one, I went and got it,
oil,
I did everything
hash,
legal, I went and got a
and
provider
so-
I
license.
used to, but
I know a patient, what they're talking about. I got
I do, you know, they're actually,
like one, like
you know, I,
point
they
78
actually test their
to
stuff out of like
1.
diamond
I
or black
had
diamond.
4 600 watt.
And I would like to make one additional comment. If you have comments to make about the rules, and I know you've had comments here today, send your comments in writing to the rules address at the LCB. That way they're in writing, they get presented to the board, and they can make decisions off of what comes in. So please do that.
And Hillary, if I can just end it with that we are going to have 5 public hearings in the first week of August. We will be on August 6th, we will be in Everett at the Holiday Inn, and that same evening we'll be at the Seattle Center in Seattle. And the next day we'll be in the morning we'll be in Olympia at the Red Lion, and that evening we'll be in Ellensburg at the Western Central Washington State College, and then the next evening we will be in Spokane at the Convention Center. So please come, let us hear from you. Not only hear from you, but an opportunity for you to hear what other folks are saying as well. And this is a public hearing. It's not on the proposed rules. It's different than the public forum when we were asking you to help us develop the rules. We've done that. So thank you very much. Thank everybody. Thank you for coming.
Hi, Allison. Good to see you.
Hi,
Can I do a quick interview real quick? Is it all right?
Super fast.
Okay. It's for All Day Live.
Okay, all right.
As far as December 1st, just 3 points that people should know right away. Just
December 1st is the deadline for rules being finalized to make the market implementable, as it were. Licenses have to begin to be issued after that. Right now, the Liquor Control Board is going faster than that. So they intend to have these rules finalized by August 14th
Right.
and start taking applications a month later.
And so where do they go to find out if they want to keep up with this?
Go to the Washington State Liquor Control Board's website. There's an I-502 implementation page that has lots of documents there and also an opportunity to sign up for the LCB's email list on I-502. You get updates.
Are you still active? Are you still, what's happening since you wrote that?
Yes, absolutely. This process, we're basically right now, we're putting meat on the bones of Initiative 502. So I've just been really involved in hearing what people have to say, providing input, working to bring people to the table to make sure that they're engaged in the rulemaking.
You want people to get to work with other projects? Give them some ideas.
Please, the more people that have experience with cannabis, that care about what 502 looks like when it's rolled out, the more people who get involved, the better quality of the rules we have, the better we're going to do in launching this.
Yeah. So if they work, we want the state to work to everybody to get involved.
Absolutely. We need everybody to participate because nobody's done this before, so we need everybody's input.
Where are you speaking at next?
Next, I'm speaking in Mexico.
Really?
Former President Vicente Fox is hosting a symposium at Centro Fox in Mexico. 2-day seminar bringing people in from the U.S., from Mexico, from Holland, from Portugal. So I'll be speaking there about what the national and international landscape is looking like right now.
So it's turning into a very large worldwide market.
Randy Simmons, the project director for the rulemaking process at Liquor Control Board, has written on a whiteboard in his office, "The world is watching," and he's absolutely right.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Yeah. Thank you.
I'm sure that'll start. Yeah.
That's something, because that's kind of what they're thinking.
Yeah. I'm sure tourism will be.
See you.
Thank
Can I do
you.
a quick
Good to see
interview real
you.
quick? It's really good to see you.
Yes, thank you.
How's it going? Just a real quick update.
You're welcome. You're welcome. No, go ahead.
Go ahead.
And I need to do this. rather
Yes.
than that.
Yes. Quick statement. What advice do you give to the people of the state that want to get involved in the industry?
If they want to get involved,
Yes.
read the proposed rules. Make sure that you meet all those qualifications.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it's as simple as that.
At the state website, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Thank you.
And the proposed rules are on the website. They're everywhere you want to look at them.
And when are you speaking next? When's the next meeting again?
Pardon?
When's the next meeting?
What next meeting?
Meeting coming up. The next one coming up. The next hearings.
The hearings
Yeah.
are August 6th, 7th, and 8th.
Okay.
August 6th in Everett and in Seattle. August 7th, Olympia and Ellensburg. August 8th, Spokane.
Thank you, Sean.
Mhm.
Thank
You're-
you. Even in King County, I've been told Seattle's got Will Wilson, it's good to see you.
Are you still doing the show?
Oh yeah, I want to do a little quick interview with you.
Do you want to do a quick interview?
Yes, if it's possible. But answer some questions. We'll get to it. Let's just but not that everybody's here. Of course, this is on. It was a great conference. Thanks for doing it, Camelot. Appreciate it a lot. Just some advice. People want to get involved. They get a hold of Camelot, right?
They can totally get a hold of Canna Group. Our website is www.cannabislawseattle.com, or you can call us on the phone 206-224-5657.
Or they can email you as well, right?
Or they can email me personally at hillary@harrismoray.com, and that's HILARY@harrismoray.com.
And what about future conferences coming up?
Oh, we're definitely going to do some more. We're kicking around, right now, we're kicking around investment, securities, taxation, and banking.
Yeah.
And this is kind of in the phase when you're a real business now. So what do? That can include trademarking, that can include talking to banks. What about refinancing, lending, investment? Taxation issue on a federal level is a huge problem. So we're going to tackle these in future seminars.
Sounds great. We need more media too, right?
Yeah, oh my God. Media is great. Watch the WillPWilson show. It is the best.
Can you come out to the school studio sometime again?
I would love to. You've got my email, right?
Let me get your card.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. I had such fun when I did it that one.
Yeah.
It was a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Appreciate it a lot.
Yeah, no
and
problem.
I'll put that right there. If people can see it, they can. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for coming. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Here's my
Sharon? Well, I've already interviewed Sharon. Go ahead. You've been writing the column for the Weekly, and it's Dave Baker, right?
No, it's Belzer. David Belzer.
David Belzer. I can't see him going blind here, but that's you. I appreciate David. It's good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you.
And you've been doing a great column.
Well, for the last 2 months, yeah, we've been writing columns about this I-502 and the rules that they've been enacting, and what every aspiring marijuana entrepreneur needs to know in order to get into the business.
So you're helping educate the public a lot.
We're trying to develop those areas where entrepreneurs are weak, you know, the administrative and business science.
Now, this is going to be kind of an inspiration from this meeting today, which is the 17th of July, right? You're going to continue to go forward with what we learned today here at this conference.
Well, I'm an accountant, so I'm here to help the people that are in the business and want to be in the business.
Yeah, and you're helping the state because it's all an accounting phenomenon that's never been accounted before.
It's a compliance matter.
Yeah.
And people have to comply with the rules, so we need to know what the rules are.
And nobody knows yet. They're just learning. It's
they don't know what the rules are yet.
So you're really one of the key pioneers right now.
We're trying to get in on the ground floor.
Yeah, you're kind of like the guy that came into Puget Sound about 400 or 500 years ago and has to figure it all out. Right?
Peter Puget?
Yes. You're kind of in the same boat he's in. I can see it.
It's a better one than that, but yeah.
Well, you are. I mean, face it. And it's actually quite a lot bigger than Puget Sound. Yeah. Real quick advice. People want to get back with you. You're an accountant. They want to ask you some more questions. Is that possible? Like through your articles and whatnot?
Certainly.
How do they get a hold of you?
Dave Belzer at gmail.com.
Okay, and then they can read your stuff on the weekly.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So let's say they want to find out, keep up with what you're going to report.
Well, we keep the column going. It's called "So You Want to Get Into the Marijuana Business." That's the name of it.
Yeah. So it's incredible.
That's the name of the column.
The thing is, your audience is bigger than just here in Seattle.
It could be getting bigger.
Yes. I expect it to. Let's look at future advice from people in the industry. I'm greatly honored to have you just even be seen today on the All Day Live show. It's a great honor.
Well, thank you for having me.
Appreciate it. I'm going to look forward to reading more on the programs that you're putting together with people that are trying to get started, because this is kind of like, where do you start?
Yes, it is. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dave.
Yeah, it's great. Thank you.
It's good to see you, guys. It's good to see you. One last word of advice for everybody?
Yeah.
Go ahead. What would you think? How do they get a hold of you?
Read the rules.
Call Liquor Control Board.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you a lot.
Always say read the rules.
Read the rules. Awesome. It's the Cannabis Entrepreneur, and Dave will look forward to more on this.
Okay.
Thank you. We'll see you soon. Thank you again. Thank you.
See y'all.
Thank
See you,
you.
Hillary. The book you can have.
Propagator licenses.
Back here, well, let's say
My name is Paul Schrag. I'm a business consultant working for several would-be recreational cannabis licensees in Western Washington.
Okay. And go ahead. We're working on business. You're creating business plans?
I'm creating business plans and sorting out the economic nuances of recreational cannabis production in Washington. It is a complex endeavor creating an economic framework for an industry that's never existed before above ground. There are a lot of things to figure out, and I think we'll find people divided into two categories beginning these businesses here in Washington.
Right.
You'll have growers who want to cash in on the possibilities, and you'll have business people who want to cash in on the possibilities.
Right.
And the expertise required to do either one of those things successfully is to understand both in equal measure. And I have a background in cannabis cultivation that goes back 20 years. I also have a background in business and have written business plans for all sorts of folks in all sorts of industries.
Paul, can we get a picture of your flyer right there? If we can get on there. That's you right there, Paul Schrag. And we're at the Canna Law Group. Today is the 17th, right?
Correct.
Yes, of July 2013. And they can get a hold of you. What's your website?
I don't have a website currently.
What?
But,
Email.
Huh?
Email.
pschrag at gmail.com, PSCHRAG at gmail.com. I am currently crafting a website that will be up very shortly. Look for it all over the internet. You'll see it soon, I promise.
And you can help people put business plans together, right?
I would be happy to help anyone who's in need of business and cannabis expertise, and that is a crucial combination. If you don't understand how to grow it, you don't know how to you don't understand how to take care of operational efficiencies, how to introduce all sorts of savings into the process of growing. If you don't understand business, you're going to have a hard time taking advantage of some of the complex business nuances associated with growing cannabis.
And people need help right now.
I think people need big help right now, and I'm certainly not saying that there aren't people out there that are capable of doing this. For people who need a little help, I'd be glad to.
Okay, how they get hold of you?
pshrag@gmail, pschrag@gmail.com. I'd be glad to answer any questions you have.
What's your phone number?
253-254-4784.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Man.
That's an honor.
The issue with indoor and outdoor growing and the false dichotomy that's being presented is this, that indoor is ecologically unsound and that outdoor is somehow superior, has a smaller carbon footprint. What outdoor really has is a much lower cost of production because you're not paying for inputs like power and water in some cases. However, there are other aspects, especially in growing in eastern Washington, that come into play with regards to carbon footprint, such as distribution and transportation costs. You have to drive 600 miles in a great big truck to get it to your primary markets if you're just going to Seattle. If you're trying to take it to Tacoma or south of that, it gets even further. There's not as simple an equation as they like to present between carbon footprints on the eastern and western sides of the mountains. What they also fail to recognize is there are a number of energy efficiencies that can be introduced to indoor grows, and those are becoming more available, cheaper, and technologically superior to current lighting technology, current water distribution and treatment technology, and so on and so forth. And the other thing that they do not mention is the massive amounts of pesticides that are required to be sprayed on outdoor cannabis crops. Those pesticides get into the groundwater, they get into the watershed, and they create problems. They also create problems within the insect populations themselves. Washington State has a phenomenally resistant series of insect species that are really hard to kill. You know why they're hard to kill is because for years we've used the same pesticides on crops throughout eastern Washington. That means more pesticides, more virulent pesticides, more deadly pesticides, and more toxic pesticides have to be sprayed in order to control these pest populations. That's another consideration that's left out of the discussion. Now, I'm not saying that outdoor growing is unfeasible, unviable, or necessarily ecologically unsound, but I think they're creating a false division here that needs to be looked at more complexly and with a little bit more subtlety than is being presented here today.
Okay, as we resume to the conference here, Paul, thanks again. How do they get a hold of you?
pshrag@gmail.com.
I think there's people would like to talk to you about that. Thank you.
All right.
Okay, this is All Day Live, and this is after the symposium today, which is the 17th of July, 2013. And this is kind of a quick update. I noticed you did speak in front of the panel today and asked some pretty good questions. What some panel applications that they were trying to answer. Go ahead, real quick, some input afterwards.
So yeah, today's symposium, I was just talking a little bit about indoor versus outdoor growing, and seems to be a little bit of a battle brewing between the eastern Washington sector and western Washington as far as allowing outdoor growing versus indoor growing.
Yeah.
Indoor growing is not as big a carbon footprint as being made out to be, with induction lighting, LED lighting, the recyclability of the bulbs, the HID bulbs, and metal halide bulbs, even the recycling of the wastewater and everything else that is controllable within an indoor farming environment. I don't think is that much different than the outdoor farm, which has soil erosion, it has pesticide runoff, has chemical runoff. You have issues with security on outdoor farm. I don't care how secure of a fence you've got issues with pollinating, you got cross-pollination issues, bees, insects, things like that. So, it really shouldn't be a battle of one versus the other. I think there's a market for both. I think people like indoor grows and outdoor grown weed.
Any websites you refer? Do you want people?
Yeah. So if you want to look up, there's a big movement towards vertical farming. Farmed Here is one in Chicago, and they do vertical farming for the reason of bringing food closer to the urban populated area, which is a big problem. So most of the population is centralized within urban areas, and getting that food from the agricultural sector to the urban areas is a big problem, and it's a huge cost. And so I think keeping an indoor grow closer to where your consumers are is very important, as opposed to trying to ship them from across the state. So I mean, that's a salient point to put in there, as far as also carbon footprint of transportation of the product. So.
Would you, if people want to get back to you, do you want people to get back to you?
People don't need to get back to me.
Okay.
I'm just throwing this out there
Thank you for the input.
as
I
a little bit
appreciate
of
it a lot.
education.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Your input in the conference was incredible.
I appreciate that.
Thank you
Thanks.
very much.
Good luck with everything.
Thank you.
Oh, so I want to give you the timeline so you can talk to the Liquor Control Board. Remember that written comments are due by July 31st. That doesn't give you a lot of time to think through what you would recommend if you did want to push them to set caps. Public hearings are scheduled August 6th through 8th, and then they're going to publish the final rules August 14th. There'll be a 30-day window before those rules become final, and then they open up the window for applications in mid-September. That 30-day window serves a political purpose for us. If the Liquor Control Board does decide to set those maximum caps, that puts DOJ on notice. This is what Washington State is thinking about in terms of size of our grows. What do you have to say to that? And I think it's important that we give DOJ the opportunity to weigh in during that period of time so that you're not wasting your time submitting operational plans that are never going to be accommodated. And also so that if DOJ doesn't say anything at all, at least then when we start processing your applications, we can say, we told you this was what we were going to do, and you didn't say anything about it. And again, I think that's an important political aspect to this. The final thing I want to do is to remind everybody that hemp, as long as your cannabis plants don't have more than 0.3% THC concentration, you can grow them now. Hemp was decriminalized by 502. That was because we changed the definition of marijuana. So the word marijuana under our state law now only applies to cannabis plants that have more than 0.3% THC concentration. So if you're growing a really high strain CBD with a really high potency CBD strain that has virtually no THC, or you just want to grow hemp that has virtually no THC, you can do that now. And I'm hoping that there will be some farmers out there that will start that process so we can have an interesting conversation with DOJ about that. Thank you.
Thanks to Allison. And just one thing before we move on to Representative Kretz. Is Kate Becker in the House? There she is, ladies and gentlemen. Kate Becker heads up code compliance on I-502 for the city of Seattle. She has a 16-person team, so if you are thinking of setting up shop in Seattle, Ms. Becker is the person you want to see. I only mention it because Allison dropped a knowledge bomb about zoning, and that is certainly coming. So, without further ado again, I'm going to introduce Representative Joel Kretz. We're very happy to have him here. He is participating in a rare moment where we reach across the aisle to our Republican friends and talk about marijuana. So thank you, Representative Kretz.
Ryan, probably the last.
Arizona and your group for requiring non-systemic pesticides. That's a big issue for me. I am very concerned, however, about one of the proposed rules that has come out about allowing, there's this huge market for concentrates right now. It's recreational, it's not medical. I don't know of any really seriously ill people that do dabs on a regular basis. My concern is the difference between those concentrates that are made in a clean manner, that is without poison, and those that are manufactured with the use of poison because solvents are never completely removed. My concern has been about things like BHO. My hypothesis has been it's going to be like a dog with chocolate. You know, you can feed a dog chocolate, nothing happens. You feed a dog chocolate, nothing happens. Feed a dog chocolate, nothing happens. And then the dog gets the tiniest sliver of chocolate and falls over dead because the damage is cumulative. We're also getting reports that the butane extracts not only cause brain damage, and I used to have a store on the Avenue, University Avenue, and I'm here to tell you there's enough dead brain cells in the city of Seattle already, we don't need any more. But there's also reports coming out now that people are becoming epileptic. There is no high in the world that is worth becoming epileptic before, and even though my concern is for the medical patients, I don't want all the recreational users to become medical patients because they were able to simply walk into a state store and buy poison. So that kind of response about your justification for allowing it.
I'm going to let Randy answer that technically, but I want to make sure and correct it. You said state stores. We are not going to have state stores. Every 502 store will be licensed by us. We will not own it, we will not run it.
But
We will regulate.
You will regulate it, exactly. That's what I meant. State regulated stores. Educating people about how dangerous those products are.
Yeah, absolutely, it is, and we've already started down that road.
Thank you.
I'm just going to intervene really quickly here because I think Representative Kretz is getting a little bored. So I'm going to ask him a question. This really has to do with the legislature in January 2014, and we're really here to talk about outdoor growing. So while we appreciate the auxiliary questions, please try to keep it on topic. As far as the legislature goes, Representative Kretz, do you see anybody on your side of the aisle objecting to outdoor growing based on their constituencies on the east side? One left, so thanks for your patience. Go ahead.
Just want to thank everyone for coming. You guys are doing a great job. Keep up the good work. My first question would be for Jeremy. Can you truly get safe, good quality outdoor medicine without bugs and mold and pesticides to the end user? I don't know about outdoor farming, so that's my first question. And then my second question for the Liquor Control Board would be, there's rumors about management companies taking over a vertical integration system in 502. Are there plans to stop those type of networks or alliances, is that even something that's been brought up to the Liquor Control Board? Also, at what point is a party of interest or financier, at what point is it against the law for a financier to be tied to either a management company or a licensees? Those are my two questions.
I had 4 600-watt lithium plants and 2 found them. I'm a biochemist, and I went out and found them. It took a long time to find.
Can you feel anything?
It took 600. Yeah, I had 4 of them. I got 1,500. I got my. I know, and I got my $10 for 14 of them. And about $350 online plus shipping.
Was that on a table, or did you have to seal the
line for?
You're not going to want to do it again.
I got it for $100. I got a 6-inch can of filter and really nice fan for 7.
Or they're going to just say, I never.
My brother's wrist right there. On your next go around package.
Oh,
yeah.
there you go.
I'll give you some perspective.
Yeah.
My brother's wrist.
Really?
So this is bigger than your forearm.
All right. Okay. That's amazing. Wow.
It's kind of hard to
Might as well do that. Photography, flash, and
I talked to him.
He allowed me to use it while working.
It's a little less than that, Miles. It's like $10.
I thought, well, how can they say he can and I can't? So
I got it. Yeah.
Northwest Leaf. They go there for more information.
And it's more, and it's
yeah.
I care about people.
I care about making the world a better
I
place.
care about my family.
My fellow Americans. I care about music, care about our job prospects.
I care about peace, teaching youth, my kids, my
The
husband,
welfare of my fellow man.
health.
I want the truth to come out.
This is the Breakdown City.
Day by day, my life gets colder. My eyes go dim as I get older. Pieces, bloody and bruised. I feel so helpless and confused. 'Cause I
Are you leaving?
Well, it's Seattle Peace Concert here at Magnuson Park. Saturday. This is All Day Live. This is WillPWilson. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of this. We'll catch about 15 minutes of the Peace Concert today. It's been ensuing and going, and we just got here a little bit late, but okay. Okay, hang on.
The biggest issues was they won't give me the proper pain medication. They just say, oh, go to the drugstore and buy some Tylenol. These are war injuries. This is not the way we should be treating our veterans.
Physical and emotional.
Oh, physical and emotional. And cannabis can help with both.
Yes.
Cannabis help some strains. Now, just to say, and I want to make very clear, all cannabis is not the same. All cannabis is not equal, and that's where the testing, that's where the research, and that's where the expertise comes in, is to help guide patients.
It's on pause, so you get the red
We are
light.
on record. We are recording.
No.
Hey, man. No record.
Yes. Is it turned on?
It's turned on.
Okay. It's us seeing us, right?
It is.
That's what it's all about. We all
Exactly.
look at each other and know who we all are, and we're a community.
Yep.
All working together.
Absolutely.
Yes. Well, one way is we got to start somewhere. Did we start yet?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Ready. Peace concert.
Peace concert. Whoops. Yes. These people are all here to witness beautiful music in the park, Magnuson Park, Seattle. And let's see, let's zoom in on the stage, shall we? Nope, I guess we are zoomed in. I don't know, man. This camera's pissing me off.
Watch the shows. They're archived online. Okay. Yep.
I remember when you called me up, asked me out to the laundromat, playing pool on the tricycle. Can't have more fun than that. Never told anyone your secret. You know I know you told mine. I could never do that to another. Something if your hands are clean, if you're a saint, leave me be, 'cause I'm not trying to make it to heaven. I'm living a good thing, and I'm never gonna change my mind. I'm living a good thing, and I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Thank you.
The Peace Concert's right here. Saying about the whole thing. So I'm just going to get this last. Okay.
Good time, thank you.
Did they rock the house or what? And look at the house we've got. Boy, the ceilings are all blue and beautiful, and the walls are...
People. I care about people.
I care about making the world a better
I
place.
care about my family.
My fellow Americans. I care about music, care about our job prospects.
I care about peace, teaching youth, my kids, my husband.
The welfare of my fellow man.
Health.
I want the truth to come out.
Day by day, my life gets colder. My eyes go dim as I get older. Piece in pieces, bloody and bruised. I feel so helpless and confused. 'Cause I hear screaming on the left, yelling on the right, or sitting in the middle trying to live my life. 'Cause I can't stop the war, shelter homeless, feed the poor.